Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Bonney, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Tuesday, May 7th. The Dow is looking to continue its four-session winning streak today after all three major indices started the week on a green note. Yesterday, during regular trading, the Dow picked up 170 points, or nearly 0.5%. The S&P 500 added more than 1%, and the Nasdaq gained 1.19%. Bill, let's get into today's action with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes. Good morning, Emily. I'm watching the S&Ps. The S&Ps are positive, not significantly, but they're higher by 0.03. That's flat to higher. I'll take that. I mean, in the background, we had a lot of Fed speak yesterday, and the Richmond Fed Bank president was out there, giving a speech, and he was reigniting the market's expectations for rate cuts this year. That developed a lot of enthusiasm for the markets. This morning, you had some positive earnings come out, Disney, Jacobs, KVUE, they already hit the tape. And, after the bell today, we have ARM Holdings, Airbnb, Trade Desk, AppLovin, and Robinhood. So, we got a lot of things going on. And, let's talk at Apple's really in focus today because, they do have that product launch event going on today at 10 a.m. One of the things that I found interesting that I saw hit the tape this morning was on U.S. Steel. The European Union has approved the acquisition of U.S. Steel by Nippon Steel. U.S. is really against it. Biden at least says he is. So, we'll have to keep an eye on that. I think that's a developing story. In terms of the European markets, we're showing gains across the board. We're looking at the DAX is up 102 points or 0.56%. We're looking at the FTSE. FTSE's up 88 points, 88.55. That's 108%. So that's nice to see. And the CAC is up 20 points or 0.26%. In London, you're seeing some nice gains in mining stocks. In France, you get the president of China visiting France today. They have meetings with France's President Macron. You're seeing gains in luxury stocks as a result. So that's kind of nice to see. We're looking over at Asia last night. And Asia was interesting because, it was mostly higher. I mean, the Nikkei jumped 599 points. That's 1.57%. Remember, they were closed for a 4-day holiday weekend. So they were closed Friday and Monday. So, today was the first day they've been open in a while. And, you saw big gains in electronic stocks and brokerage stocks as they moved higher. But the Hang Seng Exchange fell 0.5%, 0.53%, or 98 points. Not really concerned about this because you got to remember the Hang Seng has been up for 10 days in a row. I mean, this is the first drop in 10 days. Okay, I'm not really too worried about it. And then you look at the market in Shanghai, China. They were up 7 points or 0.22%. You saw some gains in consumer and tech stocks over there. Then you keep an eye on oil. And oil is kind of interesting to me this morning because it is trading lower. You got WTI at $78.23. You got Brent at $83.07. Now, oil kind of was higher earlier this morning. I saw some gains in it, but it's pulled back. I mean, there's talks that, Hamas accepted the ceasefire proposal. Well, that's not exactly true. They accepted a ceasefire proposal that they rewrote. And Israel's not going to agree to that rewritten contract. So they're agreeing to their own proposal, not having the other side negotiate with them. So that was not a negotiation. That was a one-sided agreement, which, after all, is not an agreement. So, then you saw Israel kind of go into the Gaza Strip. They now control a port that's leading to, and leading from Gaza to Egypt. But I'm not seeing this big spike in oil prices. So I kind of feel that, the premium that has been attributed to oil over this Middle East conflict is kind of waning. The street seems to be looking forward because, Gaza, Israel really does control most of Gaza and, they're looking forward to the next thing. And, this afternoon we got the API oil stockpile estimates coming out after the close today. So I think that's more important than what's going on in the geopolitical world this morning, Emily. And that's what I have for you in terms of morning market update.
Bill, so much to sift through there, keeping an eye on all of that. You're able to keep track of this information because you have Newsware. You're watching all of those things that you take stock of during your morning rundown, but you also are looking at details on the day, things like earnings action, economic events and reports, and other types of market moving headlines. And we're going to get through all of that on today's show. Investors are turning to corporate earnings, even though, as we mentioned yesterday, sort of the peak of earnings season is behind us. There are a number of big names, likes of Disney, who reported, and some to look ahead to. So, Bill, give us a rundown of what we should be watching when it comes to earnings action.
Sure. Let's take a look at it. Let's start off with what happened last night. We got Palantir, ticker PLTR, Paul, Larry, Tom, Richard. They met expectations, but they did it on higher revenue, but it wasn't a beat. You're looking at the stock. It's down 11.5% this morning. You're looking at Vertex Pharmaceuticals, ticker VRTX, Victor, Richard, Tom, X-Ray. They beat by 15 cents on higher revenue. Stock's up by 0.8% this morning. We're talking Datadog, ticker DDOG. They beat by 9 cents on higher revenue. And you got Disney. They beat by 11 cents. But Disney did it on slightly lower revenue. That's causing the stock to sell off about 5% this morning. Upcoming, we have Arista Networks, ticker ANET, Apple, Nancy, Edward, Tom. Their EPS is $1.74, and the expected move is 9.11%. McKesson, ticker MCK, Michael Charlie Kilo, their EPS is $6.34. Their expected move is 4.50 when they release this afternoon. Then you have the likes of like Twillo, ticker TWLO, Tom, William, Larry, Oscar. They're reporting tomorrow morning. Their EPS is 60 cents, and the expected move here is 11.12%. Lyft, ticker LYFT, Larry, Yellow, Frank, Tom. They're also releasing tomorrow morning. Their EPS is 9 cents, and the expected move is 17.91% when they release tomorrow morning, Emily.
And Bill, a quick note here. Your pick of the day yesterday was Datadog, and you told us if you were able to get a gain, you were going to get out of that one ahead of earnings. And by the end of the show, we're going to check in with you on that to see if you were able to get a gain there. Now we're going to get to the day's economic events. Bill, what is going on in terms of those?
Oh, the calendar's light today. I mean, we have the biggest, really most influential report that's going to come out is really just in the oil sector. I mean, you have the API, American Petroleum Institute's stockpile estimates coming out at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. Tomorrow you get the official ones from the EIA. So, this is really the only one coming out. And then you have some Fed speak at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. You have Minneapolis Fed Bank President Neil Kashkari. He's going to be speaking. Market is showing some gains. I don't know if it's going to be able to hold today, but typically in weeks when you have a lot, when you have slow inflation, is typically the markets do rise. Next week's a bigger week because we got a lot of inflation data coming out Tuesday and Thursday. So there's a lot of inflation reports, and that could be that will definitely be a catalyst for the markets. But today, light day, just the API stockpiles report, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time, Emily.
You're also keeping track of the day's other market moving information, things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, other catalysts. You're able to create alerts in your newsware to group stocks together, like your FANG stocks, your Dow 30 stocks, keeping track of all the market moving information on any given trading day. So, Bill, what else do you see is possibly moving the markets today?
I'm looking at my Dow stocks. I'm showing 17 higher, 10 lower, the rest unchanged. You're looking at your FANG stocks. I'm seeing mostly weakness. I mean, the fact is they're all trading lower with the exception of Apple, which is up 1% going into that product launch. I mean, speaking of Apple, they're having a product launch today. It's at 10 a.m. They're expected to announce, a new version of the iPad and talk up AI integration. They're coming out with a flood of press releases. It's really worth checking out. I mean, this is why you're seeing Apple being able to gain because they have an event, and you typically want to own the stocks going into the event and sell them when the event happens because, once the good news is out, it's out. The big, this product launch is it's okay, it's important, but next month's Worldwide Developers Conference is really the key one, and I believe that's happening on June 10th. Um, Amazon, we're talking Amazon, AMZN, they're planning a $9 billion cloud infrastructure investment in Singapore. Tesla, we're showing weakness in Tesla, down 1.5%. Listen, monthly data showed its China-made electric vehicles dropped 18% year over year in April, and yeah, that's not good for Tesla when you start looking at it. I know they're trying to reshape their focus into robotics, but they're still a car shop. They still sell cars, and that's where their revenue comes from. We're talking Dow Jones 30 stocks, and we want to start off with JP Morgan, ticker JPM, John Paul Mary. They posted an $8 billion gain after Visa stake restructuring in a regulatory filing. We're talking Boeing, ticker BAA. This actually hit yesterday, but it's still, with the stock today. The FAA is probing Boeing 787 inspections, whether companies falsified reports or not. I mean, it's a big negative. You're looking at shares of Boeing down 0.8%. I mean, it was trading 182. It's now trading 176.90. There's always another shoe, it seems like, but it's still one of the few plane manufacturers around. So you got to look at these opportunities and say, how long will this bad wave of negativity follow with the stock? Well, it could follow for the good part of the summer, but after that, we got to start. We'll probably see some movement, and just because they're lowering the number of planes that they're coming out with monthly, it's happening everywhere. Everybody has problems getting the supplies they need to build planes. So you can't really just push that focus off on Boeing, because it's not just a Boeing problem. It's an industry issue. We're talking Apple, ticker AAPL. They're developing chips to run AI software in data centers. They said that's going to be one of their focuses on running these chips to run AI data centers. It's good. It's positive news for Apple, ticker AAPL. We're talking merger news. We're talking Nippon Steel. We're talking Nippon Steel and U.S. Steel, ticker X. The EU approved the acquisition of U.S. Steel by Nippon Steel. We're talking guidance news. International Flavors and Fragrances, ticker IFF, India Frank. They see 2024 results toward the high end of their guidance range. Simon Property Group, ticker SPG, Sam Paul Grace, full year, estimates 1275 to 1290. The street estimate was at 1206. That's a big uptick. SPG, Sam Paul Grace. Disney announced new full year adjusted EPS growth target is now 25%. We're talking Crocs, ticker CROX, Charlie Richard, Oscar X-Ray. They see second quarter EPS, adjusted EPS coming in 340 to 355. Street estimates at 347. I like that guidance. It's not bad. 340 to 355. Street estimate 347. That's positive. That's positive. We're talking shareholders meetings. General Electric's having their annual shareholders meeting today at 10 a.m. Ticker BMY, Bristol Myers, Boeing, Michael Yellow at 10 a.m. They're having their annual shareholders meeting. And Baxter International, ticker BAX, they're also having their annual shareholders meeting. Same time, 10 a.m. 10 a.m. is a big time for shareholders meetings today. We're talking buyback news. MYR Group, ticker MYRG, Michael Yellow, Richard Grace. They announced a 75 million share repurchasing plan. BLD, Boy Larry David, this is Top Bill. They announced a 1 billion share repurchasing authorization. And BP, British Petroleum, Boy Paul, they launched a 1.75 billion buyback. So we got a lot of good buyback news today. Now we're talking catalyst events going in today. S&amp, Sam, Michael, Tom. This is Summit Therapeutics. Citibank opened up a 90-day catalyst watch on the stock. Interesting. The low price stock, though. Don't really like it, but the news is good. But that's what I have for you in terms of news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional Newswire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what is your pick of the day today?
I'm going with Shopify, ticker SHOP, Sam Henry Oscar Paul. Now, the earnings are coming out tomorrow morning. The EPS is 16 cents, and the expected move is 11.79%. Looking at yesterday's call volume, it's about 37,703 calls versus put totals of 22,824. Looking at the open interest, 308,457 versus 242,506. Both positive. So far the boxes are checking. Now I'm looking at the major brokers. They're positive on the stock. They're raising price targets. It's another box check. Now, last quarter after the earnings came out, the stock fell. They did deliver a beat last quarter. There's some concerns about the valuation, but stock's trading near where it fell to on last quarter. So I do think that if we can get in at the right price, this thing could, have a nice opportunity for, a move today. Now, I do, the S&Ps are showing a slight gain. I don't know if they're going to be able to hold that gain today. So if the S&Ps don't hold the gain, there's a good chance that we could get some, an opportunity to buy the stock on a little weakness. For me, I'm looking to get in 70, 6.5, somewhere between 76 and 76.5. That's my target entry price. And I think it could rally from there, specifically as we get closer to the close. So my pick of the day is Shopify, ticker SHOP. Entry price, is 76 to 76.50. Emily.
Bill, Shopify is heading into earnings. Your play of the day yesterday was playing that one ahead of earnings as well. As I mentioned earlier in the show, in just a few moments, we're going to check in on that. So stick with us. But ahead of that, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Disney's on track for over $8 billion in free cash flow in 2024. Spirit, ticker SPR, stocks dropping after a significant Q1 loss, said it won't provide guidance. Oh, Boeing's going to try and buy them out. Boeing used to own them. They spun them off in the early 90s, SPR. ServiceNow, their analyst day prompted a lot of positive reactions. Ticker NOW, Nancy Oscar William. XPO opens a new service center in Las Vegas. Tylenol maker KVUE beats quarterly estimates. They're going to be cutting 4% of the jobs, they said as well. U.S. auto safety investigations are seeking detailed answers and documents from Tesla in a probe into the December recall of more than 2 million vehicles to install new autopilot safeguards. Cody, ticker COTY, they just launched a deal where they're going to, where they signed someone to an exclusive contract. Lena Gerke, Google, a judge has approved a $62 million Google consumer privacy settlement over objections that awards $18 million to the plaintiff's lawyers. Yeah, that's a lot. Goldman Sachs, a judge on Monday ended the U.S. government's criminal case against Goldman related to Wall Street's work on that 1MDB. They said it met its obligations as it paid a $2.9 billion in penalties. And Goldman definitely knew what was going on, and they had to settle that as quickly as possible. Robinhood, ticker HOOD, on Monday, they said that it received an enforcement action notice from the SEC over crypto tokens traded on its platform. Ooh. That's all I'm seeing this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into trading on this Tuesday, let's do that check-in on yesterday's pick of the day. We pointed it out earlier in the show was Datadog. As you told us during earnings, they did release earnings this morning. The company announced an adjusted EPS of 44 cents. That was anywhere from 9 to 10 cents higher than the analyst estimates out there. Revenue for the quarter beat expectations at $611 million. And that was compared to the consensus estimates of $590.65 million. That marked a 27% increase year over year. They did offer guidance, which is where investors weren't so happy with the company this morning. They provided guidance for the second quarter with revenue expectations between $620 million to $624 million. Consensus here had been 621, so at the midpoint, but for some reason they were just underwhelmed with that. But Bill, you told us yesterday if you were able to get your gain ahead of earnings, you were going to take it and walk away. How did your call work out?
Just look at the tape. I mean, the stock opened up at 123.52 and then fell to 122.13. I mean, I had an order in at 122.30 and I didn't get filled. I was so mad. But because then it just rocketed. It ran up to $127.86 and it closed at 126.87. Listen, this thing was priced for an 11.25% move. I mean, you look at the stock now, it's actually trading lower by 11.7%. So, you don't want to, if you're not 1,000% confident that it's going to hit, you don't want to take that risk. This is why I say, jump out and take the 1% gains, walk away with it. And yesterday, this was a 2% gainer that you made money on, going for the home run. It's just not worth it. So yesterday, the gains were in the stock, happy with that, walked away, smiling, even though I didn't get filled because I knew I made a good pick. But Datadog, ticker DDOG, was a winner yesterday, Emily.
A good pick there, Bill, with a chance for a win, even if you didn't get filled. Hopefully, somebody else did. And we will check in with you tomorrow about today's Shopify pick of the day. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here tomorrow and each weekday morning at NewsWare's Trade Talk when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Bonney, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.